Well, we have a special Halloween tutorial for you all. In this tutorial, we're joined yet again by Academy Award-winning makeup artist Matthew Mungle to demonstrate an out-of-the-mold transfer technique using a combination of Bondo and his soft sealer, which allows for wounds to be quickly applied right out of the mold. Now, for this tutorial, this is an extended tutorial that will demonstrate both an exit wound on the side of our model Joshua here, as well as a realistic cut throat, with a lot of tips for blending and blood application and just a lot of information crammed into this tutorial. But this is a long tutorial, just the nature of the material covered. This is a lot of information, so hit pause, go grab a cold drink and a snack, and get ready to learn some great makeup techniques just in time for Halloween.
Hi, I'm Matthew Mungle, prosthetic makeup artist, and right now we're going to be covering Bondo mold transfers. So this mold was made with 7315, which is a very flexible, clear mold, as you see. We painted 2 coats of soft sealer into the mold, letting each dry. Then we've taken tinted red with Dr. Martin's watercolors, Bondo, which has been mixed, Pros-aide, which has been mixed with Cabecil to thicken up. Did 1 pass, let it dry, a 2nd pass, let that dry, and then powdered. And you can keep these in your makeup kit, or you can make them a couple of days before you have to do the application of wound makeups or casualty makeups. So what we're going to do to apply this, it's very simple, very easy. We're going to take a little Pros-aide here, right here. Pros-aide, dip my Q-tip, and this is if you want this to stick. Normally, it would stick to the skin without doing this. But if I wanted to make this stick all day, I'm going to take a little Q-tip, take a little of the Pros-aide, and wipe it onto the mold, not going up all the way to the edge, just about 1/8 of an inch to the edge of the mold. Just painting that on, a very, very thin coat. I can even take the backside of the dry Q-tip and wipe off the excess of the Pros-aide. Let that dry a little bit. We're going to take a hair dryer, hit that. You can always do this before you do the application to the skin too. We're going to take a big brush and going to rub the alcohol onto the piece. You can see the plastic already coming up on there. And then we're going to take this and you close your eyes. Take this onto the skin all the way up to where you think the piece is going to go. Let that dry a little bit, flash off. Then you're going to take this and press it into the skin. Grab his head a little bit, just very lightly press it all around. It's going to stick to the skin, and then we're going to peel this mold away. Okay. We're going to take this, turn back this way, and let's see if it's stuck here. Yep, there we go. We've separated the mold before we even started the process with the plastic with Vaseline. Thus, it removes from the mold much easier. I'm just taking a Q-tip and helping the piece out of the mold, like so. It's the mold. You can reuse this mold. We'll take 99% alcohol around the edge, not onto the piece, just on the edge of the piece. Because this is an alcohol-based sealer, And I don't use super baldies for the plastic because this soft sealer is much, much stronger than the baldies. I'm going to take this, blend this onto the skin, and it just melts right onto the skin with 99% alcohol. There we go. You could actually just, if you were in a time crunch, you could just actually just throw blood onto this, and that's your application. But instead, we're going to take and put a little color on it. For color, we're going to use the Stay Color Full Color palette. This is alcohol-based colors. So we'll take a little bit of 99% alcohol, put in one of the little wells, take a stipple brush, take a little of the red color. I'm going to paint in the center to give me my base for the center of the wound. It's like painting with watercolors, but instead of water, you're activating the color with 99% alcohol. So I'm just taking this, painting the edge, a little bit more intense in the middle, painting the white areas of the piece a little bit. And now I'm going to take a little black and paint in the center of the piece just to give it a little bit more depth. Because I already have red on my brush, you're mixing it with the black and giving a little bit more depth in the center. I'm going to clean my brush off. I'm going to take a little bit of the red and this pink color and give a little irritation around the piece. Put on the color first. And then go back kind of haphazardly with the red color. Going to go back with a little alcohol. Because it's like watercolors, we're going to take and just blend that color off a little bit. Let's go up into his eye a little bit with the red. Just take a little bit of this alcohol, blending the colors away, like so. Just kind of blending them onto the skin so there's a little irritation around. Then because this is a full color kit, you've got flesh tones on there. So I'm going to take a number 3 flesh tone and a number 7 flesh tone, which has got a little bit of a yellow in it, which Josh's skin tone has in it. Get a little bit on the brush. I'm going to take that and put it on the highlights of the edge around. Just to give a little bit of oomph to the appliance to make it stand out a little bit more. Take a little alcohol on your brush and just kind of blend that down onto the skin. Then we're ready for the blood. I'm going to take a little bit of this drawing Bloodworks drying paste blood. I'm going to take that and just put it into the center of the piece, making it nice and gooey. Here and there. very thick paste, which is great. You can take then the Fleet Street blood work, drying blood fresh, take it onto a spatula, take that, add onto that, and just kind of move the blood paste around as you're putting the blood on, so it's not concentrated or a solid. I learned years ago when I started out in the industry not just to coat everything with blood, leave a little highlight. It just looks a little bit more organic and natural that way if you do, rather than just coating the whole thing and covering your work up. You can put a little less blood and make it look more realistic that way. And of course, again, I wouldn't put the dripping blood on until he actually got to the set and was put in the position that he died in, because you want the blood to run down the way he was last positioned, because that's the way the blood would run out of the wound for a few seconds until he passed away and the heart stops beating and the blood stops running. But for now, we're going to do just like he was sitting up. We could also take a Q-tip, dip it into the blood, and add a little bit of blood all the way around here and there, and just kind of blend that off. And then if you're on the set also, you can take a rubber glove, put it on, put a little bit of blood on your fingers, and then just splash it on so you have little spots of blood, like the wound kind of exploded from without. So, and that's a fast, easy exit wound. And now I'm going to show you how to do a neck gash, as if he's had his neck slit. These are Bondo molds. They're made out of 7315, very flexible, clear silicone molds. And to apply this, actually to make them, it was made with 2 coats of soft sealer in the mold, then a pass, actually 2 passes of tinted Bondo into the mold. Now, you don't necessarily have to tint the Bondo, which was Pros-aide mixed with Cabasil. You can leave it clear if you'd like, or tint it with a flesh tone, whatever you'd like to do. For this particular one, I used a Dr. Martin's watercolors. So as you can see, the plastic's already coming up from the mold, which is great, which means it's going to transfer onto the mold, onto the skin much easier, because Vaseline was painted into the mold before the plastic was painted into the mold. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 99% alcohol, do a very thin pass of that over the piece, do a very thin pass onto my model Josh's neck right here, all over. And let that flash off a little bit, meaning basically dry on the skin a little bit. And then we're going to take this mold, press it onto the skin where we want the cut to be at an angle. I'll do it at an angle so it's a little bit more interesting than just straight on. Then take that, press it hard enough not to choke him, but enough to press on to the skin. And once that alcohol is dried, you can take and pull the piece up from the skin. I'm going to take a little Q-tip just to help coax the piece out of the mold here and there. There we go. There we go. So that's on the skin. And this white area is Pros-aide that hasn't quite set up yet because I didn't let it set up, which is fine. You can still work with it. Now we're going to take a brush or a Q-tip and go around and just clean up the edges and blend the plastic soft sealer edges. Now because it's alcohol based, it blends on with 99% alcohol. So we're going to take that, just kind of blend it onto the skin. Turn this way a little bit. Let me turn this way. Blending the plastic onto the skin. Just by painting the 99% alcohol onto the plastic, it blends the piece down. And I'm not necessarily doing it on the whole piece, and just the edge, just to blend that edge onto the skin. Now I'm going to use the Character Stay Color Kit, which is alcohol activated colors, which acts as a, it's kind of like if you've ever watercolored, painted up with watercolors. It's basically the same idea, but it's alcohol activated colors. So I'm going to take a little bit of the old red, kind of put that on here and there, just to break up the color the lighter tone of the Bondo with the red around the edges here and there. Just dab it on. Then I'm going to go back, clean my brush with a little 99% alcohol, get all the color off of it, put a little bit more alcohol on, and then just blend that color down and onto the skin. Just kind of break the color up and break the edge of the piece down and onto the skin. And take that. Also going to take a little bit of the old red and a purple color. Tilt your head back a little bit further. Yeah, great. And then go right into that cut with the darker color. Yeah, nice. Making it deep. Deep in that area. Going back onto the lighter color and just kind of painting it also so it's not so stark of a color. Taking the purple a little bit again and painting into the cut to make it look a little deeper. We can even take this color, this red color, and use it as blood if you wanted to, and let it drip down the piece. So it looks like the blood, and that would be kind of semi-permanent on the skin in that it would look like blood and it would be there the rest of the day. Like he got cut in the chair and he's still in the chair when they discovered his body. I'm also going to take the full color kit and take a little bit of the flesh tone kind of paint that over, make it a little darker color, paint that over the white so it doesn't look so stark. And blending it into the skin a little bit more with that darker yellow color. Use the red color while I've got it here. Just put it around here and there just to break that edge up and that color. There we go. Like that. Now we're going to add a little bit of the Bloodworks drying paste blood inside the wound. Give it a little bit even more depth here. Squeeze that out. In a line inside of the cut. Very thick paste. You can take a palette knife and now just kind of move that around inside the wound. You don't want to fill the wound up completely. You want to have a little depth with that. So you just want to move that paste around a little bit. That gives you a little bit more depth to your wound. Then we're going to take, before we do this, we're going to take some paper towel, put on his shirt so we don't get it on the wardrobe, and the wardrobe people get mad at us. Kind of scoot down in the chair just a little bit, and then put your head back a little bit. Okay, now that kind of opens up the wound a little bit there. That's pretty good. We're going to take a little bit of this Fleet Street Bloodworks Drying Blood Fresh, and we're going to take that and put onto the wound. Of course, remember that you need to do this on the set where the actor is going to have his final moments. If he's over on his left side, the blood would drip to the left. If he's sitting in the chair, it would drip straight down. If he's on his right side, it would be dripping down to the right. So it's very important to follow that. I'm going to put a little bit of this blood over the stay color blood that I put on just to enhance that a little bit. You can also take You can also take a glove, put it on, so you don't have blood everywhere. Take that, take a little bit of blood on your fingers. Take it and just kind of hit it and spackle it onto the wound. So you have a little bit of residual blood here and there. Okay, tilt your head down and then tilt your head back, and you can get that nice open effect as you're doing. Maybe as they're entering the room, he has his dead head here, and then his head just kind of falls back a little bit, and you see the open wound. And that's a really fast Bondo neck cut.
Well, that concludes this 24+ minute tutorial covering lots of good makeup techniques. Thanks again to Matthew Mungle for coming out, and thanks again for our model, Joshua, who was patient enough to sit in the chair and let all manner of things get stuck to his face. Be sure to stay tuned because we'll be posting a follow-up video to this on our website, and we'll post something on YouTube directing you that way. That we're going to have an extensive tutorial we'll be posting on our site that will cover the whole process of casting into 7315 molds to create these transfers. So that said, be sure to watch for future videos, and if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe, and have a great Halloween. It's right around the corner. Hope you all have a great Halloween this year. Hopefully COVID doesn't get in the way of this year's Halloween festivities. Thanks again, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe.